Happy first week of your teaching internship. As you know from our initial meeting, I'm so excited to support you and learn from you during this journey. Each week, I will send along a short video or podcast as a way of staying in touch with you, as well as to help you think through the learning and growing that you are doing this year. In each of these videos, I will share a bit about my own experience as a teaching intern and educator, as well as resources and questions that I hope are useful to you as you start this journey. Please know that I do not expect you to read the text that I share or to compose some kind of formalized response to my questions. You may find that you want to just add the book to a Goodreads list for future reading later on when you have time for leisure reading again, or you may find that that book I mentioned is relevant to what you're thinking about in your teaching journey at that time. And the questions I pose will hopefully be based on what I know you're thinking and wondering at that time about your teaching practice, and hopefully they will stimulate and support your growth. So here's a little anecdote for you to start. My first week at Detroit School of Arts during my internship year in 2007-2008 was like any first week of an educator, filled with building relationships with colleagues, acclimating to school culture, and navigating the logistics of a new work setting. I remember being really quiet that first week as I started to get to know my cooperating teacher and the circle of colleagues she called friends. I was very fortunate to have a CT who was very social and well-liked within the building because it meant she helped me to network a lot that first week. In fact, I was able to develop a relationship with two other teachers that commuted from Rochester, where I also lived at that time, and I was able to carpool with them for the majority of the school year. I also quickly got to know the assistant principals who I would have to turn to for disciplinary issues, connected with the IT guy who helped me to get onto the network with my laptop, and figure out who to go to for office supplies or what to do when the copy machine stopped working. Another reason I was so quiet that first week was because I was negotiating, in my head of course, how to present my identity as a teacher and a colleague. I knew what I believed as an educator, and I had spent 4 years honing those beliefs with a cohort who also bought into them. But I knew going into my internship year that there would certainly be colleagues who shared those beliefs, just as there would be colleagues who didn't necessarily agree, but from whom I could learn a lot. I remember wondering then, as I have again and again since, how I could best represent myself as someone who is knowledgeable and well-informed, but also open. How could I communicate that I was a team player who wanted to get my hands dirty and learn as much as I could? How could I represent myself early on as the sort of educator and colleague I knew myself to be? I leave you with a few questions to mull over as you embark on your first week. As what sort of educator and colleague do you want to be viewed? Besides your cooperating teacher, which colleagues may be helpful resources and cheerleaders this year? How can you foster connections with them? And what beliefs seem to be a part of the school culture? Which naturally align with your own and which diverge from yours? What can you learn from all of these? As always, if you want to take some time to talk through these questions or other things that you're exploring and wondering as your internship begins, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to chat. Here's to a great first year in the classroom.